So I finished grad school, joined Deloitte. Actually, I applied to Deloitte Consulting online. Initially, this was for a job as an analyst. Got rejected or declined by the recruiter. I had a phone interview, got turned down, whatever. Um, then I was like, you know what? I won't give up. There has to be a better way. Because I mean, at this point, this was it was kind of a bear market for jobs. I think the market had just kind of recovered from like a recession in a way. But anyway, I spoke to somebody from college. I knew who was working at Deloitte. Spoke to him on the phone. He's like, yeah, cool, whatever, because I wanted him to give me a recommendation to refer me to the company, right? But once I told him they had turned me down for this other role, he kind of just went ghost. He just vanished, right? And first lesson learned from that is sometimes the people who will help you out the most won't even be your friends. They'll be acquaintances, right? And I've shared this before. Basically, I went on LinkedIn and just found a bunch of people who worked at Deloitte who had first degree connections with me, and it was some guy I met only once at a at a bar. Basically, this guy was just my wingman. Like I was trying to talk to some nice, lovely ladies. I was just me, and he was there. And I was like, "Hey guys," I was like, "Hey, let's go talk to those ladies." Things went well, we kind of just exchanged business cards just as a formality, but never really talked to each other after that, honestly. And back then, he was working for some other company, but for some reason, I I added him on LinkedIn. I think just because I don't know, right? But here we are, like 2 years later. This guy's now working at Deloitte, and I slide in his DMs. I'm like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" And we spoke. I told him, "Yeah, I'm trying to apply to Deloitte, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, send me your resume. I'll refer you, right?" Because working there, people who work at those companies also have an incentive to want to refer you because they get paid for anybody who gets hired by the company, right? I sent him my resume, and he took a look at my resume, and he found the right department and the right job to submit me for. Like I didn't even pick a job. He just went through, did the research, boom, right? And the job he referred me for was called consulting job. Basically, at Deloitte, you have tiers. You have analyst. Typically, you have to be an analyst for like a couple of years, 2 3 years, then become a consultant, then become a senior consultant. So the job I got turned down for was a job as an analyst, but this guy referred me for a job as a consultant. The job is typically actually even more senior, and I ended up getting the job. Because funny thing is, once he referred me, a week later, the same recruiter, some recruiter, some recruiter in India, I don't even know if she knew I was the same person, right? Because I think that they have so many phone calls. It's like they treat everybody like a number. But basically, I had an interview with her on the phone, easier than the one before that. Next thing you know, they want me to come into their office. I go to their office. Easiest interview of my life. Like 5 people came interviewed me. They're all just like checking a bunch of things, just like not even wanting to be there. And I got the job. And lesson I learned from that is sometimes it's not. Sometimes acquaintances can change your life, right? So, I mean, that's why, if anything, anybody you meet, always keep an open mind, always stay in touch, right? Technology can be a great way for that. LinkedIn is a very powerful tool. Use it to land your job, right? And if you get rejected once, try again. Find other ways in, right? So then my first day at Deloitte Consulting, I recall I was there wearing my three-piece suit, hella overdressed. Then I'm there on the computer, like trying to like go through the onboarding training, and I get a phone call, and I was like, okay, so I excused myself to go take the phone call because they left me a voicemail, and I could see in the voicemail because I had like Google Voice that it was IBM. So IBM called me on the first day of my Deloitte onboarding, And I go to speak to the guy on the phone, and I'm like, do I really want to do this? Like, I just joined Deloitte. This is my first day, and I'm already talking to IBM. So I'm like, you know what? Let me do my research. Did my research, and it was a job I really liked. And I spoke to a friend of mine who was working at IBM, and he told me the work-life balance there was great. So it made a lot of sense to say, you know what? Let me keep my options open, right? So the whole time, 2 months I was there, I was going through the whole interview process. Actually, I was interviewing both with IBM and Microsoft, right? Because Microsoft was also talking to me still, but ended up getting an offer from IBM, and I left, and that was basically that, and that was my experience at Deloitte. Basically, Deloitte just honestly paid me to just kind of be there. I was only on one project. I didn't like it. It was kind of like they messed so many things up. Even though it's a great company to work for, I'm definitely not trying to like poo-poo Deloitte per se. But somebody messed up, and when they brought me on board, because technically then I was an American, but they had put me in federal, even though you have to be naturalized or an American to get any federal jobs. So somebody messed up the paperwork there. I'm not sure how, but I didn't complain because I was getting paid. Then they switched me to commercial sector, but by then I was basically on the way out with IBM.